Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Alright, let's do it.
So, Newton and Pascal and, I don't know, Einstein are deciding that they're going to play hide and seek together. And so it's Einstein's turn to find people. And Newton stays in his place and he draws a square meter around himself. And he's just standing there. He doesn't move at all. And Einstein, counts, and then he turns around and he's like, okay, I found Newton. Like, that's not a big deal. And Newton goes, no, it's 1 Newton per square area. You found Pascal.
I don't do it for fame or for awards or whatever. I do it because it's fun. It's a really fulfilling feeling, and I'm always really proud of the work I do, proud of the work my other friends do.
It's like a creative hobby, and you're always learning something new.
You see, I go by the... I just love cosplay, I love the details of it, and I just love the passion that we have to put into our work.
People getting really excited when they see you in a costume. They have jumped up and down in their seats, or have waved frantically, or just making new friends through costumes that you're doing together and series that you both really love a whole lot.
Actually, we met through cosplay.
Yeah.
I would have never met you.
And I never would have met all my friends if it wasn't for you.
Adam and I have been very lucky to be able to meet each other and balance out our strengths and weaknesses.
Compared to some of my other hobbies, cosplay feels like it's much more social. It's also probably the most physically draining hobby I have. Wearing it around and walking around cons and posing and all that. It's a great way to stay in shape.
With a hip hop, the hippie to the hip and a hip hip, a hobby you don't stop, the rocker to the bang bang boogie, say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat.
All those little individual things that happen at a con are the things that make it so much fun for me to be a part of.
Okay, so we were at Katsucon 2012 and my friends and I were taking some really dumb photos and we wanted to play off the hover hands meme, Christian hover hands. We were in the middle of taking a photo and security guard walked behind us just at the right time and history was made. We didn't even realize it until that night when we were editing the photos. And we weren't expecting it to take off like it did at all. And now we're on MSPA.
Act real ill, but whatever you do in your lifetime, you never let an MC steal your rhyme. So from 6 to 6 to this.
Everything I learned from each costume, I kind of carry on over to the next.
Because I'm kind of one of those perpetual learner types. I can't ever stop trying to learn new things.
It was definitely a learning experience.
Before you know it, you're able to do it all by yourself with no handicap, and it's great.
I feel like I always learn a new trick or a new skill every time I make something new, so that always helps carry over to the next thing and the next thing.
This is one of my first cosplays that I've ever made that included sewing all by myself. I found my own pattern, I modified whatever I needed to do for it. So I used pretty much everything I've learned from the get-go, and I'm really excited at the way it came out.
Well, stretch applique spandex is pretty hard to start with. About 100 stars sewn on this cosplay. Yeah, a lot of time spent on those.
We're from Montreal. We've mostly been to the local con there, which is a Katsucon. During our local con once, we were cosplaying from Blue Exorcist, the 2 demons, Mephisto and Amaiman. This person started obviously stalking us. She was in the background of our photos when we checked our photos on Facebook. It's okay, she's there, all right. At some point, just for fun, we decided to add the person because we found them on Facebook and we found out it was a guy. It was pretty funny for us.
You can tell when you look at cosplayers that they care so much about whoever they're cosplaying, and that's really exciting and fun.
I love Diego Brando. He was my absolute favorite in Steel Ball Run.
Out of all of the protagonists from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 8's Josuke Higashikata is the one that I connect to the most.
Because it's dedication and commitment both to their craft as well as to representing a character they really like.
I haven't told this joke in a while, or if I say anything wrong, you have to tell me. Okay, so there's a pimp, and he's got 3 hoes. He goes up to the first hoe, and he says, "Ho, where's my $50?" And she says, "But I only owe you $25. He smacks her and says, "Don't crack me, ho." goes up to the second hoe. He says, "Hey ho, where's my $150?" She goes, "But I only owe you 100." He slaps her and says, "Don't crack me, ho." Goes up to the third hoe and he says, "Ho, where's my $250?" She says, "But I only owe you 200." He slaps her and says, "Don't crack me, ho." So he goes up to the fourth hoe.
That's not right.
"Don't crack me, ho."
That's a good one.
Say a can of beer that's sweeter than honey, like a millionaire that has no money, like a rainy day that is not wet, like a gambling fiend that does not bet, like Dracula without his fangs, like a boogie to the boogie without the boogie bang, like collard greens that don't taste good, like a tree that's not made out of wood, like going up and not coming down. It's just like a beat without sound, no sound to the beat. Beat, you do the freak. Everybody.
For a cosplay beginning today, have fun. Do a lot of research. You just carry your experiences over until you perfect all the things you want to perfect.
This is one of my more recent costumes. It represents a bunch of milestones for me, like the first time I drafted a pattern, so that was pretty cool.
I don't know about you, but you've never been shy around me.
That's because
From the moment
you're
we met.
trash.
Oh, hugs.
I've been cosplaying for roughly about 10 years.
Something like that, yeah. Like some 13, 14. A very long time.
The absolute love that you get to wear of it, and I think that's a great representation. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
I read and draw and I study a lot.
I play video games and play D&D.
What do you find in a mathematician's toilet? Natural log. Mathematicians.